So welcome everyone to Office Hours today. The date is the 18th of February 2020. We are going to be focusing today's Office Hours around the Conditional Logic feature, which was highly requested. It's one of our newer extensions, and it will allow you to create a lot more segmented funnels and do some other really funky stuff within the funnel builder. And we're going to be showing you a little bit how you can do that more effectively using this add-on. As always, if at any point during those office hours you have a question, just post it in the comments feed. I have the comments feed off here to my right, and I can just see everything that people are posting. And if I think that the question is pertinent to the discussion, I will actually just repeat the question on the call, and I will then answer it in turn, hopefully providing you with the answer that you are looking for. You could just pop in and say hello right now to make sure that your comments are being added and that we can see them. So some cool stuff before we get into it. First of all, we have a lot of new courses out at academy.groundhogg.io. I highly recommend you go check it out. We have a brand new one called Course Creator Essentials. It includes a bunch of what we believe are essential marketing funnels that you should have on your LMS-powered site. Stuff like course completion funnels, course abandonment funnels, free lead magnet funnels, lots of cool stuff available. There's also the Quick Start course if you haven't gone through that. Again, another super powerful course. We also have the brand new Certified Partner course. So if you're an agency or you are someone who is looking to help other people implement Groundhogg, or you're looking to sell Groundhogg, you're looking to provide it as a service, then the Certified Partner course is definitely something that you may want to invest in. If you are someone who's looking for someone to help you get Groundhogg set up, and you're looking to work with what we deem what we qualify as an expert in Groundhogg, we actually have a directory dedicated to that. You can go to our Certified Partner directory, and there you'll be able to find a wealth of certified partners who have gone through our course and rigorous training, and they will be able to help you get Groundhogg set up and get working and start implementing those funnels that you're dreaming of. Last but not least, if you want to earn commission and you think that you have an audience that may be interested in using our stuff, then I highly recommend you head over to our affiliate registration area. We provide 10% commissions recurring on sales that you make, and it's pretty awesome. So I highly recommend you go sign up for our affiliate program. If you have a colleague, maybe another business, or someone who you think would benefit from using our stuff, we will reward you for that referral. And follow us on Twitter at GroundhoggWP. We post cool stuff on there sometimes. So here's how this week voted in terms of what we want to talk about. So Conditional Logic was at the very top. Then the booking calendar, we had a few people ask about zero bounce, and Matthew down there at the bottom asking about some other stuff. So we are going to get to it in this order if we have time. So it depends on how much time each subject takes. We are going to aim to be ending around 3:50. So we're going to talk about conditional logic. We're going to talk about why you may need it, why you may not need it. We're going to be talking about how it works. Then, if we have time, we're going to be talking about the webhook listener and the send API action. Again, granted, time permitting. Colin has a question. Do you have a calendar we can subscribe to rather than adding individual elements? That's just regarding to the Google Calendar. We don't have a calendar right now. It's a good idea though, and we're going to see how we can make that work in the future. If you have any questions that's not necessarily related to any of the topics or the questions listed here, that's okay. Post them in the comments, and following the broadcast, we'll do our best to follow up with you. Or you can just save your question and just post it in the group as a question or a post on its own. Questions should be limited, at least for the purpose of this broadcast, to the subjects tier. And if we have time at the end, any kind of like non-contextually relevant questions we're going to get to as well. So hopefully that's okay with everybody, and we're just going to kind of plow into it. So I'm going to open up my WordPress site, and I'm going to make sure that I have my needed plugins installed.
So I'm going to need Groundhogg installed. I'm going to get advanced features going, and I'm going to activate the conditional funnel logic extension. So let's make sure that all of those things are activated. Great. For those of you who do not know, the conditional logic extension is a extension that you can purchase on our store for $99. And it is included in the Pro plan, so that $480 a year plan. And it has some sweet screenshots if what you find during this broadcast is not enough to kind of show you what it does exactly. But you can also purchase it separately, or if you already have the Pro plan or an All Access Pass from last year, then you will be able to download this add-on from your downloads area. So you can install it like any other plugin, and once you've had it installed, we can then go to our funnel builder, and this extension opens up in the funnel builder directly. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add myself a new funnel. Start from scratch. And it works like this. So we have our benchmarks and we have our actions, the two kind of pieces that put a whole funnel together. And essentially everybody that goes into this funnel goes over every action unless they complete benchmarks that move them further down the way. So I'm going to add a couple more actions here. So let's add a couple of delay timers. We'll add a couple of emails, another delay timer, another email, and we'll kind of just get that going. And then we'll end it off with a tag applied benchmark. Boom, just like that. So a pretty simple funnel here. Someone registers or signs up on the website, their contact record is created. We're going to give them a tag. We are going to wait an unspecified amount of time. We're going to send them an email, wait another unspecified amount of time, and then we are going to send them another email. So let's start off with the send email. So here's the thing. Imagine a scenario where someone is going through this funnel and they receive a tag in another funnel. So let's go create another funnel for the sake of argument. Add new, start from scratch. We'll call this one funnel B or whatever. Funnel B. And let's say they buy something. Do I have the product? No, I do not. Okay, let's say they visit a page somewhere on the site and we give them a tag. Let's say we give them tag, what's a good tag to give them? Visited page. Boom. Let's go ahead and save that, activate that. All right, so we have someone, they visit a page and they get the visited page tag. Now in our other funnel, which we're going to call, for the sake of example, funnel A, this funnel, let's say the purpose of this funnel is to get them to actually visit that page for whatever reason, or we want to send them different content based on whether or not they actually visited that page. So we want to send them an email if they have not visited the page. And we want to send them a different email if they have visited the page. Go ahead and give that an update. So this way, the conditional logic extension will allow us to specify different emails to send, or really any actions, although I'm using emails for the purpose of the example, based on what tags they have possibly from other funnels. The messaging that I want to send during this is if they have not visited the page, I'm going to send them a specific email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable the conditional logic extension, and then I am going to say if has none to specify they have not visited the page. I do not want them to receive this email if they have the visited page tag. And then I can set the condition. So if the contact passes any condition, otherwise skip the step, What I have specified here is if they don't have this tag from visiting the page in the other funnel, we are going to skip this step. And I'm going to go to this step. I'm also going to enable the conditional logic. And then I'm going to require that they have the visited page tag to actually go through this step. So what's going to happen is they're going to skip this step if they have not visited the page, and then this step is going to run. Now, conversely, what's going to happen is if they do have the tag, if they do not have the tag, they're going to skip this step, and if they don't have the tag, then this step will not run. And then they'll continue on to the next delay timer, and then you can do this as many times as you need. So this is a really easy way to provide different sort of content, different conditional content, based on what users have done in other funnels. Because typically in Groundhogg, funnels are a pretty closed process. The reason being that we want people to go from A to B in the shortest amount of time possible. So we try to keep other stuff out of the picture as much. But if you absolutely require under every circumstance that you conditionally show different kind of content based on interactions in other places of the website, then this is exactly how you do that. And it doesn't have to stop here at just this one tag. You can actually add as many tags that you need to this particular condition, and you can also add more conditions. So let's say I wanted to send this email based on whether they have either of these conditions, which is that default actually. So if I have two different kinds of conditions here, let's say they has none of those, but they have this tag, for example. So what this will cause is that if either of these conditions are true, then they will be able to receive this email. If neither of them are true, then they're going to skip the step. We can also change that to requiring that all conditions be true. So that means that both of these conditions need to pass in order for the person to actually go through this action and receive the email. Otherwise, we're going to skip the step. So some pretty simple logic in the grand scheme of things going on here. You can add as many conditions as you think you need in order to satisfy your marketing automation desires. You can also just have the minimum be 1. And at any point, you can disable conditional logic just by clicking the little checkbox here, and it will disable it for you. It'll actually also save the settings for you, which is kind of nice. If there are any questions on conditional logic up till this point, I'd love to see them in the comments section so that I can answer them for you. If not, we're kind of just going to keep on plowing forward here. Questions, questions, questions. All right, so it looks like either I'm just really good at explaining how this works, or it's just brain dead simple, or nobody is feeling brave enough to ask them questions. Don't be shy if you have a question. There are no bad questions, and there are also no wrong answers. So I would love to provide you with any information that you need that you're not quite understanding, or if you're not seeing the exact use of this. So again, as I was mentioning earlier, you do not have to apply the conditional logic only to emails as well. You can apply the same logic to timers. So if I want to use it for timers, I just have to enable the conditional logic for this timer as well, and then I can skip the step or provide additional conditions in order to run that step. And the conditional logic will work for all actions. So any of the actions that are listed in our little actions tab here, so date timers, apply owner, creating users, webhooks, all of that good stuff is subject to the conditional logic extension. So I can enable conditional logic for this webhook, for example, so I can send a post request depending on whether the person meets certain criteria, and I can send post requests to maybe different places depending on if they have a certain tag or not. So super flexible. You can get really flexible with the funnel builder using this tool. And the nice thing is that since it's kind of like on a per step basis, you could always kind of just have it in that nice linear flow. And if you want to do things beside each other,
you just have to click the copy button. And then in the second element, or the second step rather, you just have to add the converse condition in order to have the thing run. So super simple, not a whole lot of work to do going on there. And this will allow you to create that conditional content. This is the only area where the conditional logic extension is actually useful. It's only within the funnel builder. It's not anywhere else. You just activate it on certain actions and you are essentially good to go. And that's about it. So hopefully that answers kind of like what it's for and what it does. I've actually personally never really used it in a Groundhogg scenario or Groundhogg marketing scenario, because all of our marketing is pretty simple and straightforward. Someone gets on the list, they get added to like an email series, and then we have some other stuff for our cart abandonment and whatnot. But if you need some flexibility to send personalized content or different kind of content depending on tags and whatnot, then this is what you need to use for that. So unless there are any questions about how this conditional logic extension works, I would love to move on to some of the other questions that people are asking. And Colin Wood has a question. It looks as though we could do some of this without the add-on, just using a series of tag benchmarks. Not necessarily. So the difference between just using tag benchmarks and the conditional logic extension is that this is evaluated at runtime, which essentially means it's evaluated when the contact reaches this particular action. So if a contact reaches this particular action, it will check all of the conditions, and then it will be able to just skip this condition and move directly on to the next action. Versus if you're using tag benchmarks, for example, if I have a tag applied benchmark right here. So let's say I require tags be applied at this particular point. In order for someone to complete this or to start whatever series of emails or whatever actions that comes after this benchmark, the tag actually has to be applied to that person. So it's evaluated at the time that the tag is actually added to the contact record, not at the time of the event or the email that's scheduled to run. So the difference here is that the conditional logic allows a lot more flexibility versus if you're using the tag applied benchmark, it has to happen, or they have to be added to this point in the funnel at the time that that tag is added. That is not required when you're using conditional logic, because it's just evaluated at the runtime of the email. Hopefully that distinction makes sense. If not, I'll be happy to explain a little bit further. But I think that makes sense. At least it makes sense to me. So let me know if you need a little bit more clarity on that. I'll say it one more time just for the purpose of brevity. The difference between using benchmarks and the conditional logic extension is that when a benchmark is accomplished or achieved or completed, then the person or the contact is added to that benchmark and whatever comes after it immediately. Meaning that wherever they were else in the funnel, they will no longer be at that point in the funnel. They'll be sucked down to that benchmark and then proceed to do all of those steps. Conversely, with the conditional logic extension and this little builder here, if someone is added to the funnel while they are accomplishing the actions, whether they have certain tags or not, is evaluated at the runtime of the event, meaning that they can have had the tag eons before, and you'll be able to tell that when sending the email. Because if you're using tag benchmarks, then they have to accomplish this benchmark at the time that tag was applied. Using the conditional logic, you do not have to. You can just check whether they have the tag or not at that moment in time. So it provides a lot more flexibility than using benchmarks only. Frederick asks, is it more efficient to build complex funnels with multiple steps and conditions, or should we create many smaller simple purpose funnels? So I'm of the philosophy of small purpose, single use funnels. That way I as a person, I like to compartmentalize as much information as possible. So if I go to a funnel that's like my lead generation funnel, It's got a few simple steps. It's got the web form, it's got the email confirmation, it sends the thing, and it tracks the download and whatever else that needs to happen after that. And that's my lead magnet funnel. I have my cart abandonment funnel. I have my refund follow-up funnel. I have all of my different compartmentalized funnels that do very specific things with clear start and end points. So point A is they fill out a form. Point B is they buy something. That's kind of just the way I operate. Some people prefer to do more complex funnels and adding multiple different things in it. I prefer to just keep it as plain and as simple as possible. Sometimes for the more complex builds and integrations with other tools, stuff like this is required in order to make all the pieces work together nicely. I find that it's rare that you absolutely need this kind of functionality, but it's here in the event that you need it and you cannot avoid it. There was a case from a while ago where someone had an onboarding series and both paid customers and free customers were added to this onboarding series. And they wanted to specify certain content go out to free users and certain content go out to paid users, because the free users, their onboarding emails had an offer to go buy the thing. They didn't want to send that same offer to the paid users because, well, they already bought. So this would be a way for you to be able to say, send this email if they're paid, send this email if they're free. They're both the emails are identical, but one just has the offer in it. So that's the way that you can kind of think about where a use case of this would be useful. Colin Wood asks, so we can only check for the absence of a tag with this add-on. Not quite correct, Colin. So we can check if a contact has all of specific tags, has any of these specific tags, because we can define more than one tag in this little picker here. So has any, has all, has none, and we can also check based on meta, which I haven't really talked about yet because not many people use meta to store kind of like quantifiable information. But if you want to specify certain meta, you can do that here. You can choose the meta key. You can choose what you want to use as a comparison. So let's say I want everybody who's meta whatever. I don't actually have any meta fields here. Let's go create a contact record so I can show you what that looks like. Okay, so let's say I want to choose anybody whose user login is not empty. So people who have the user login meta field, it's not empty, and I want to use that as a condition. So I can use meta for these conditions as well. So it's not just limited to tags. You can use meta or tags at this point in time to run all of your conditions. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, we have about 10 minutes left of this broadcast. So if there are no other questions related specifically to the conditional logic extension, I'm going to move on to our webhook listener. So the webhook listener was a new feature added to the advanced features extension. The advanced features extension, again, available in the store. It's $99. And it has a bunch of cool stuff in it. It has lots of additional actions. Has lots of additional benchmarks. It has a resend to unopened feature for the broadcasts. It has super links, and it has the advanced and pro email editor in it. So if you don't have this extension, it's definitely one of the most powerful ones that we offer. So you should go pick that up. Available in any of our pro plans, as well as purchased separately. And we just added something called the webhook listener benchmark. So I'm going to add a new benchmark at the top of my funnel, and I am going to add the webhook listener. Now, what the webhook listener allows you to do is if you have, let's say, another platform, Zapier, what else is out there?
ManyChat, some of the like Facebook chat plugins out there, anything that can send a post request with some JSON formatted data like email address or anything like that. I can use this link and I can paste that link in the webhook area of whatever software. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Can I do a... let's see. I will pull up another piece of software so I can show this. We're gonna get a little bit technical, so hopefully that's okay. I am just resizing my screen here. Okie dokie. So I need to change my window. Why doesn't that work? Oh, that's unfortunate. So that doesn't actually want to work on my live stream. That's unfortunate. All right, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But what I am going to do is I am going to send a request from a software called Postman. And what that will do is that will send a request to my webhook listener here, which is this URL. And let's go ahead and send that. And if we refresh this, oh, I need to activate the funnel first. There we go. Go ahead and update that. So I just sent a request which contains some JSON data, some post data, and the URL that's right here. And again, you can use this in any webhook or any webhook supported feature in any other SaaS platform, plugin, Elementor, stuff like that. And it will send a request that looks like this. So it's got first name, it's got last name, it's got email address in the body of the request. I can then click on this button called Map Fields, and it will actually pull that information out. So I can map my first name, I can map the last name, and I can also map the email address to the related fields in Groundhogg. Go ahead and save those changes. And now if I send that request a second time, it's actually going to create that contact record and add them to the funnel. And I can see that they're actually marked as waiting here. If I go ahead and open that person, I now have a brand new contact record with that information added. So super cool stuff right there. So you can use that in other tools to create and start trigger funnels. You can also use it within other places in the funnel. So let's say I want to move this down here somewhere, and I want to, when someone is created, I'm going to send a request to other software, and I'm going to wait for that other software to tell me that this person has actually entered this point of the funnel, and then I can update their information accordingly and move them down further in the funnel. So that is the new webhook listener feature, super flexible. We are using this feature to communicate with our LMS, our Academy site. So we have Groundhogg installed on our main site, which does all of the billing and all of whatnot. And then we have our Academy site, which is doing our course abandonment and our LMS related functions. And what we can do is when someone signs up on the Academy site, we can update their contact record in our main Groundhogg site. We have a outgoing webhook from the Academy site to our main Groundhogg site using this webhook listener. We can listen for that information and we can update their contact profile accordingly so that we can send them relevant information regarding the Academy stuff. So that is a unique way that we're using the webhook listener. And again, you can use the same webhook listener to communicate with other software as a service, or if you want to do Groundhog to Groundhog, this is a really easy and effective way to do just that. So if there are any questions about the webhook listener, I am all ears for the next 2 minutes or so. We're going to have to end this broadcast at around 3:50, which will put us at just about 35 minutes. So not too bad for today. Again, questions, do not be shy. I would love to answer any roadblocks or any questions that you're experiencing in related to the conditional logic extension, the new webhook listener, which I just showed you, or anything else. Okay, so I'm not seeing a outpouring of questions coming in, so I will, what I'm going to do, oh, there's a comment here. I'm not going to be able to have time to answer that, Nancy, unfortunately. Okay. So I am going to start ending the broadcast, I think. I'm not seeing any specific questions related to conditional logic or the webhook listener. But if you had a question that was not answered on this broadcast, please do either leave a comment, because we're going to be monitoring the comments post the end of this broadcast. Otherwise, you can post in the Facebook group, as always, your question, and either myself, my team, or one of our amazing Groundhog community contributors will be able to help you out and provide you with additional context. So if you're pleased with Groundhog service, you're pleased with office hours, and you're just generally having a great time, then I'd ask that you take 3 minutes at the end of this broadcast. You head on over to our reviews area on the WordPress.org repository, and you leave us a 5-star review. Reviews allow us to get more customers, which allows us to hire more developers, which means you get more features that you want and love. And boy, have there been a significant number of outpouring cries for feature requests. We can only move so fast, and everything is tested rigorously. And sometimes it feels like development moves at snail's pace. If you feel that you want to see some stuff happen faster, then, and you're not necessarily, or you've already contributed in terms of actually buying a license or paying for support, or if you don't want to pay any dollars, then a way that you can contribute back and help us grow is by leaving us a review. So if you haven't done that, please do. If you have questions, again, I'll say for the last time, you can either comment on the feed here on this post, and we'll be monitoring it after the end of this broadcast. Otherwise, post in the Facebook group, or you can reach out to us at Groundhog WP on both Facebook and Twitter. Our live chats are open, or you can email me, info@groundhog.io, to speak with me directly. All right, thank you everybody for spending the day with us, for spending some time with us. I am super appreciative of the time that you invest in these office hours, and as well as the time that you invest in our products. So I look forward to seeing everybody next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be posting a link to add that event to your calendar shortly. Thank you. I hope everybody has a wonderful day.